Hey, over here. How you doing? Dan Gelson, Associated Press. Can you take us a little bit about the process from last week? Obviously, you sounded pretty hurt on the audio. Then you were out of the care center pretty quick. How did you feel in there, and what changed between the care center visit and the time you got back to your bus that you had to go back?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, it's fairly straightforward. I can dive right into it. You know, it hurt when I crashed. I've never broke a bone in my life, so I didn't even know what that would feel like. I got out of the car on my own, and I was feeling better. Obviously, adrenaline is going, and you know, I'm pumped up still. And got to the care center, told them what was wrong. You know, that my back was hurting, and they poked and prodded all over me as they normally do. And, you know, I said everything felt okay. And I told them multiple times it was feeling just like muscle strain to me. And so from there, you know, I got up and I was getting around. You know, obviously I walked in to the care center. I got up to leave and was feeling good, getting released. I talked to a couple of nurses who saw me on the way out and said, look, if anything changes, just come right back, because I think, you know, they were under the same impression, a lot of adrenaline, and that they could tell I was hurting a little bit. And you know, by the time I got back to the motorhome after the interviews, I was in more and more pain as time was passing. You know, got changed in my clothes and knew I was going to have to go back. I was starting to really hurt and having some trouble getting around, so went back right away and said, look, I think there's probably more wrong here than what I was letting on to you guys. It's really starting to cause me some pain. And so then we made the decision to transport. We took an x-ray there, saw some possible problems. We weren't really sure with the equipment. So then we went ahead and transferred to UAB after that.
We'll go to Jeff in the middle and then to Bob.
Erik, how much, you know, pain are you in right now? How much pain have you been in this week? And, you know, what's your approach mentally to taking your time to come back here?
Yeah, I mean, you know, to be honest, right now I'm feeling pretty good. You know, as a driver and probably, you know, any driver, right? They just want to hop back in. I would love to say I could get back in and do it right now. I mean, is that possible? I don't know. You know, I don't know how I'd truly feel in the car, especially at a place like Dover. You know, I get pretty sore at night, you know, and when I'm not moving around, and my range of motion is just a bit limited right now, but the soreness has faded away. You know, it was pretty bad early in the week and was just kind of resting, but by yesterday and today, I'm starting to feel better and better. There's certain motions and things that cause a lot of pain. You know, the thing that's probably the worst is it's allergy season, and when I got to sneeze, that hurts pretty bad. But other than that, you know, sitting here right now talking, you know, I feel pretty good. As far as coming back, you know, I think it's week to week. My injury, fortunately, is on the mild side. So we'll just kind of have to see how it's healing up, how I'm feeling. Again, I'm feeling better and better every day. So that'll be something we'll have to. I have an appointment next week and kind of make a decision from there.
We'll go to Bob and then Lee, Steven, and here in the front to John.
Bob Hockers, Fox Sports. Erik, do you have any idea of what the G's were in the crash? And also, like, are you in a back brace or anything, or do you just need a scan that says, okay, you can go?
Yeah, I'm not in any back brace. You know, it's kind of up to seeing how the x-rays look and how it's healing, making sure everything's healing good. With the neurosurgeon that I'm seeing in Charlotte, so that's kind of week to week and how that's looking. So no brace or anything. The wreck itself, you know, I went to NASCAR, looked at the car on Tuesday or Wednesday, I believe, and you know, the wreck was really similar to Ryan Blaney's at Daytona last summer, and so the G's and the impact were similar to that. And kind of talking through with NASCAR what has to, you know, get fixed to see an improvement there. And so obviously Ryan was uninjured and I had an injury in mine. So kind of going through and figuring out what the difference is there. But it was real similar to his wreck.
We'll go to Lee, then Steven, then John.
Lee Spencer, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio and CatchFence.com. I'm just curious, given the season that you'd had up to this, it has not been the happiest at times for you. And I'm wondering, what are you trying to do on the mental side? You know, clearly you have some healing to do physically, but mentally it's been a tough road for you this year. And I'm just kind of wondering, you know, what are you doing for your mental health?
Yeah, I mean, it's a unique perspective for me, right? I haven't missed a cup race, and this is my 8th season, so I've never had a chance to sit back and watch a cup race in a long time now, and obviously never seen my own team perform without me. So I think you got to look at the positives from some area, right? And at least I can take a view from my team from a side to where I'm not involved with it for a weekend at least, and see how things look. It's definitely more challenging than I thought, you know, waking up this morning, to be honest, and getting ready for the day and realizing, hey, you know, you're not getting in the car. You know, you see the suits hanging up, and so that's tough. But, you know, for me, taking a week off, I actually had another guy talk to me about this, text me about it, kind of exactly what you were saying. You know, take this time to reflect and see where you are in life, because, you know, right now can take that time. So yeah, I mean, it's not where we want to be as far as the season's been yet, and where our team and our cars have been. You know, obviously it's unfortunate not to continue that process to get better, right? You know, I want to be in that. But right now, just trying to find the positives in that, hey, can take at least a week and see what my group looks like from the outside and watching in. You know, obviously you can hear that advice from people around you, but you know, it's going to be interesting to see it for myself for this weekend.
And Corey, just from you, you feel like you're kind of drinking out of a fire hose right now. This is certainly not the way you wanted to get into Cup. I mean, obviously we knew that was your long-term goal, but can you just kind of take us through, you know, what the last week has been for you as well?
Yeah, it's certainly been a busy week for me. Never had sat in one of these things until about an hour from now. So, yeah, I mean, for sure, just trying to do the best I can for this group. They've consistently been getting better throughout the year, and I'm just super grateful for everyone at Legacy Motor Club and the people there for, doing everything they possibly can to get me ready, including Erik. He's sat in all of our meetings, so huge props to him for doing that, and Jimmy as well, just the guidance there. But there is really just a long list of men and women at Legacy Motor Club that have helped me get prepared for this race, and I would be lying to you if I said I wasn't, a little nervous about it, just because I'd never sat in one of these cars before. But, my job is to do the best I can for this 43 group until Erik comes back.
We'll go to Steven, then to John, and then back to Jeff.
Steven Stump, frontrush.com. Erik, to start to kind of, bounce off of what Lee said, this is your first race, the Cup race you won't be running since 2016. How frustrating is it to, be here and know that you can't get behind the wheel, but also at the same time, how great is it to see that you're healthy enough to, be able to travel with the team and cheer everyone on? Yeah,
it's twofold to what you said, right? I mean, I'm not in the car, but, the wreck and the injury I had, it could have been a lot worse in a lot of ways. So I think that is a testament to the safety. I think NASCAR has gotten some of a bad rap this week. The next gen car gets a bad rap, and at the end of the day, I think the car did its job. Unfortunately, this is an injury we've seen in the truck series, and obviously that's the old style car. And this is the first we've seen this injury in this car, but it's an impact that has caused that injury before. So, fortunately, like I said, it's not worse. What was the first part of your question?
I guess what's kind of the emotions around, being here at the track and just you just aren't able to run tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, it's definitely depressing in a way, right? It's I never, especially when I was younger, starting my career, never thought I would miss a race or anything, right? You see guys along the way miss races for injuries and sickness, and I was like, man, I'll never be one of those guys. Like, I'll make every race as long as I race, and there's nothing that can keep me out. And I think we all think that as drivers, no matter what age or how old or how long we've been doing it. So when you get kind of faced with that reality, it's definitely changing perspective for you for sure. But, the only thing that went through my mind through it, I found out Tuesday that I wasn't going to be able to race this weekend, is that going and helping these guys get ready. Helping Corey, talking to him, talking with Dave. Obviously, he hasn't worked with, anyone else in a minute, and especially someone making, I don't think anyone ever making their Cup debut, so that's a bit of a different weekend for him as well. So just trying to get these guys ready to go is the biggest thing for me.
Okay. And then for Corey, this is, as reserve driver for Legacy, this has been a role you've been in to start the season. What has it been like in terms of sim time working with the team, Jimmy, all the other drivers, both before this week and after you got the news that you'd be driving this weekend?
Yeah, working with Legacy Motor Club from the start of the year, I think has given me a little bit of a head start, I guess, on this week. I mean, of course, you never expect something like this to happen, but at least being able to talk to Dave and the other two teams at Legacy Motor Club, just being able to form those relationships from the start of the year kind of kickstarted this week a little bit better for me. And it's, been a pleasure for sure. I mean, just getting the, virtual seat time in a Cup car has helped me a little bit, and being able to tune on the simulator side of things for them throughout the year. So, certainly didn't really get to dive in too deep into this weekend, but I think with the 3 or 4 days that I got in preparation, and leaning on all the drivers at Legacy Motor Club to try to get ready the best I can has been the biggest thing for me. So I'll definitely learn a lot in the next couple hours, but I think the last 3 or 4 days have been definitely very beneficial for me, rather than just a overnight heads up. That would be a lot tougher for sure.
We'll come over here to John and then wrap with Jeff.
John Crane, NASCAR.com. Starting with you, Erik, can you talk a little bit more about the conversations you've had with Corey, especially considering that you're a veteran driver that can help maybe give him as much advice as he can for his debut?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it has been, about the differences in the car. I'd say making your Cup debut now is somewhat more challenging than what it was when I did it. Less practice, completely different car, so there's a lot of things that are tougher. I felt like when I was getting to make my first Cup start, albeit we'll take out when I jumped in at Bristol for Denny, that was kind of last minute. When I got to do it for Kyle at Kansas, I had a lot of time to prepare and get ready, and then 2-3 practices through the weekend. So it's challenging now. I think the biggest thing is setting expectations. I think for me, in my first Cup start, my plan was to win the race, and that was probably the wrong plan, and I ended up wrecking myself towards the end of the day. So, I think getting expectations that, running all the laps and not crashing is a great debut, for most. So talk to him a little bit about that, and then, the rest has been just about the car and what the differences are there, and trying to prepare for, going from trucks and Xfinity to this car and what it's going to be like.
And then for you, Corey, obviously taking this advice, how important is that advice as you go into this weekend in terms of a comfort perspective, being at ease perspective, et cetera?
It's huge for sure, and I think any good advice I've gotten has been super crucial for me throughout the weekend. I think for us, we're just going to try to take it one step at a time. And we've got the 20-minute practice on qualifying, and then we're going to take it stage by stage from there. So, it's certainly not going to be easy, but it's a longer race than I've, been accustomed to within the trucks and Xfinity stuff. And I've also got the Xfinity race as well to kind of lean off of as well. So I've got the time this weekend to sort of figure it out. I don't know if I'll, feel like I've figured it out by the end of the weekend. I'm sure it's going to take me a lot longer than just this weekend, but any advice has been super important. I mean, I've been reaching out to as many people as I possibly can just to try to gather all the information and just have a decent idea, at least with these 20-minute practices. It's pretty brutal to wrap your head around a completely different style of race car within that time frame, but my job once again is just to do the best I can for this 43 group and move forward from there.
We'll take a final question from Jeff.
Corey, obviously on a personal level, this is something every driver wants to reach the Cup Series. So how do you balance the excitement and the nerves with, going out there and feeling like you have to execute? Like, do you allow yourself to, enjoy this or appreciate it all, or is it just mission focused at this point?
For sure. I mean, admittedly, I haven't really been able to digest this quite yet. I mean, it's definitely a pretty last second and big opportunity for me, among, unfortunate circumstances. But it is definitely cool for me to be able to, make my debut with the 43 group. I think they've been going in the right direction and, got a cool paint scheme on the car. I get to be teammates with Jimmy and John Hunter, and just being able to, do that is super cool. But I think in the moment, it's just I'm so focused on practice and qualifying right now. I haven't even really been able to think about that. So, I think when I reflect on it, it'll be a really cool moment for me. But right now, just definitely focused on the present.
All right, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for your time, gentlemen.
Thanks.